He pushed his pregnant daughter-in-law into a well, but what she did next shocked everyone. The father-in-law pushed his pregnant daughter-in-law into the well, dusted his hands off, and turned to walk home, muttering, "Without you, my son won't treat me coldly anymore." Back home, Old Lee sat on the edge of the calm, heated brick bed, his fingers trembling uncontrollably. He locked the courtyard gate from the inside and propped it up with stones, as if that would muffle the noise from the crying well. In the evening, his son, Lishan, returned carrying a hoe. He glanced around the yard, didn't see his wife, Shulyin, and hurriedly asked, "Dad, where's Shulyin?" With his big belly, why wasn't he resting in the yard? Old Lee's eyes drifted to the corner of the wall, picked up his iced tea, and took a big gulp. He'd gone back to his mother's house, saying his mother missed him and left early this morning. Li Shan frowned and was about to walk out. Impossible. His parents had gone out of town the day before yesterday, and they even said goodbye to me before leaving. He'd left his phone on the table, too. Old Lee quickly grabbed him, his voice tight. He was just being temperamental, complaining that I was always busy with farm work and didn't spend time with him. He'd be back in a couple of days. Li Shan shook off his hand, glancing at the fragments of Shulian's usual blue cloth hanging by the well near the courtyard gate. His heart sank, and he rushed to the well like a madman, shouting, "Shulian! Shulian!" A faint response came from the bottom of the well, a sobbing voice. "Mountain song, save me." Tears streamed down Li Shan's face. He turned and untied the clothesline in the yard, spliced 3 large bundles together, tied one end to the old elm tree, and lowered the other end into the well. "Shulian, hold on tight. I'll pull you up." He had only pulled halfway when Old Manly walked over, standing pale-faced to the side. Li Shan roared, his eyes red. "Father, how could you do this? She's carrying your own grandson." Old Lee stumbled backward, bumping into an elm tree. "I'm so angry. Since he came, you've stopped caring about me being your father." Li Shan, ignoring his own anger, pulled Shulian up with all his might. Shulian was covered in dirt, her stomach churning with pain, and she could barely speak coherently. Li Shan carried her on his back and ran to the village doctor's house. The doctor felt Shulian's pulse, his brow furrowed, fearing premature labor and shock. He rushed her to the town hospital. Otherwise, both mother and child would be in danger. Old Lee followed behind, helpless, wanting to reach out for help, but Li Shan glared at him fiercely and pushed him away. At the hospital, Shilian was wheeled into the delivery room. Li Shan squatted by the door, clenching his fists. Hearing Shilian's cries from the delivery room, his heart clenched. The old man huddled in a corner, pulling a cloth bag from his pocket. Inside were the eggs Shilian had boiled for him every day, still warm. Shilian knew his teeth weren't good, so she boiled them until soft and placed them on his bedside every day, but he had never paid them any attention. Not long after, the sound of a baby crying came from the delivery room. The doctor came out and said that mother and child were safe. A big, healthy boy. It was just that his wife had been frightened and needed to be well cared for. Li Shan rushed into the ward, hugging Yin and the baby, his eyes reddening. Yin held his hand and whispered, "Don't blame Dad too much. He's just afraid of being alone. I've been too busy with my pregnancy to talk to him much." Just as Li Shan was about to speak, the police arrived. It was the village doctor who had grabbed him tightly. The doctor had seen the piece of cloth by the well on his way to town and heard that Yin had been rescued from it. He wanted to take Old Manly away, but Old Manly suddenly knelt and kowtowed to Yin. "Yin, Dad was wrong. Dad is not human. Please forgive Dad." Yin quickly asked Li Shan to help him up and said to the officers, "Comrade, this is a family matter. I won't pursue it. My father-in-law was just confused for a moment, seeing that the parties involved weren't going to pursue it. And considering Old Man Lee's age, the officers only gave him a warning and left. After being discharged from the hospital and returning home, Li Shan cleaned up the West Room for Yin and the children to live in, a sunny and quiet place. Old Li dared not enter the West Room. Every day, he would get up early, sweep the yard clean, and then go to the kitchen to cook millet porridge until it was thick and sticky. He would bring it to Yin's bedside, saying, "This is what you should eat during your postpartum period." He had secretly asked the village elders how to make postpartum meals. Seeing his clumsy appearance, Yin smiled and called out to him, "Dad, you don't need to be so polite anymore. We're family." Old Lee blushed, rubbed his hands, and after a long while, managed to say, "Yin, before, I was like a ghost to my father. I always felt that you had stolen my son, but I've realized that you've warmed up this family." Days passed, and Old Lee devoted himself to the baby, changing diapers and putting him to sleep even more attentively than Li Shan. Some villagers said Yin was foolish, not pursuing the matter after being pushed into the well by her father-in-law. But Yin smiled and said, "What family doesn't have its ups and downs? It's good that you know your mistakes and can correct them." That day, Old Lee was sunbathing in the yard with his child in his arms when the village elder came over. He pulled Old Lee aside and said, "Old Lee, do you remember last year when you fell and hurt your leg on the mountain? Who carried you to the hospital?" "It was Yin. She was only a little pregnant then, and she carried you 2 miles with her belly swollen, vomiting several times from exhaustion. She wouldn't let me tell you, afraid you'd worry, and wouldn't let her do any heavy work." Old Lee was stunned. He turned to look at Yin in the house, his eyes instantly reddening. He had always thought Yin didn't care about him, but he didn't know how much Yin had silently done for him. A few days later, Yin pulled out a wooden box containing a photo of Old Lee when he was young and a military medal. Seeing the medal, Old Lee sighed. "This is what I got when I was a soldier," he said. "Back then, I always thought my son would be there for me when I got old, but I forgot he's grown up and has his own family now." Yin smiled and said, "Dad, from now on, Sean and I will be with you, and the child will be with you too. Our family will be happy and lively." That night, the child suddenly developed a fever. His little face flushed red. The village roads were difficult to navigate, but without hesitation, Old Li carried the child on his back and ran towards town. Xiulian and Li Shan followed behind. At the hospital, the doctor said it was fortunate they were brought in time. Any later, and the fever would have developed into pneumonia. Holding the fever-reduced child, Li Shan looked at his father, who was covered in sweat, and suddenly said, "Dad, actually, that day when you pushed Shulian down the well, I saw you throw a rope into the well." Old Li was startled, then nodded. "I acted impulsively and pushed him. Seeing him fall, I got scared and quickly threw a rope, thinking he could grab it and wait for you to come back and save him." Shulian, hearing this, took Old Li's hand. "Dad, I know you didn't do it on purpose. When I grabbed the rope, I knew you still cared about me as your daughter-in-law." It turned out that after falling into the well, Shulian immediately touched the rope on the well wall, and it was thanks to that rope that she was able to hold on until Li Shan came to rescue her. As time went by, everyone in the village envied the Li family. The father-in-law doted on his daughter-in-law. The daughter-in-law respected her father-in-law. The son was filial, and the grandson was lively. One day, Old Man Li, holding his grandson, said to Shulian, "Shulian, I used to think I could monopolize the filial piety of the family, but now I understand that family love is never about fighting, but about saving. Family love is never about competing, but about mutual tolerance. A moment of confusion can lead to a big mistake, but it's true virtue to admit your mistakes and correct them. Silent dedication will eventually be seen, and sincerity can warm all barriers. The warmth of a family depends on everyone thinking in the same direction and working together towards the same goal."